Welcome once again to Court in Session. I'm your host, Justice Hype. No, this isn't the court of law, more like the court of public observation and factual information, where you or I could be the judge, jury, plaintiff, or defendant. It is all based on your observation and, most importantly, factual information. And I must remind you that this is a free and independent thinking zone where all free and independent thoughts are welcome once they are based on factual information. And as we move along, it is getting closer to my favorite time of year. Yes, football season. OTAs have been completed, the draft is over. Next week, all players officially report for training camp, and even my youth team, the Brooklyn Eagles, are fully padded and equipped and engaging in contact drills as they prepare for their upcoming season at the end of August. So, with that being said, it is time for me to discuss a little football. I missed last season, 2024 top five rookies to watch due to my schedule. You could go back and check the 2023, my top five rookies to watch, and see that all except for one showed signs of being able to produce and have some level of potential to be in the NFL as productive players for years to come. But moving right along, 2025, my top five rookies to watch. The man you see on your screen right now, number five, Cam Scatterbull, out of Arizona State, drafted by the New York Giants, standing 5'9" or 5'11", depending on the reference you choose to use, and weighing in at 216 pounds. I personally think he's a little bit closer to 5'8", 5'9", as if you watch him, he runs with a really low center of gravity. And even standing next to Abdul Carter in a recent photo, you see that he was dwarfed by him. He looked like a child. So, not that it's a big deal. He's a running back, so even if he was 6 foot or 5'9", it isn't really necessarily that big of a factor. But I think actually his pad level and the fact that he runs with a low center of gravity is going to be a huge advantage moving on into the league. And his college career goes as such. In 2020, he lost it during due to COVID. Started out Sacramento State, came back 2021, led the FCS with 1,300 yards, also won Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year, and averaged 7.07 yards per carry. Now, if you can hand your running back the ball and every other carry he's moving the chains, you've got something great on any level. FCS, FBS, youth, high school, whatever. That is impressive getting 7 yards per tote. In 2023, he transferred to Arizona State and led the team in yards rushing, 788. He also won honorable mention as All Pac-12 and also was a finalist for the Paul Horning Award. His 2024 season, he then comes back to Arizona State again and is a first team All American, first team Big 12, and finishes second in the FBS behind Ashton Jonty, which was second in Heisman voting last season, with 1,711 yards. 5.8 yards per carry, impressive once again, getting nearly 6 yards per carry, 2,300 all purpose yards, 605 yards receiving, a school record 21 touchdowns. So now maybe you may have some naysayers saying that what he only did that on the FCS level and against Big 12 competition where there isn't really much defense. Well, in the Peach Bowl, he only showed up and showed out with 143 yards rushing, two touchdowns, 99 yards receiving, including a 42-yard touchdown reception, and finished fifth in Heisman voting. And one of the more, I would say, impressive things I noticed about Cam Scatterbull after the Peach Bowl, he was dragged by the media as it was seen during the game, I believe. him vomiting, and the media picked it up and ran with a story that he was out partying. He was seen out partying the night before, and he was dehydrated, which was the cause of him vomiting on the sideline. And he just simply returned, replied back to the media and to the public at large in a very professional manner that he doesn't even drink, and he was hanging out with family the night before the game, and he was actually overhydrated, as opposed to being dehydrated, which was the cause for his vomiting. And I just thought that was great, as being able to handle the media in New York City is paramount. So I look forward to what he's going to be able to do with new quarterback situation, um, players added into the offensive line, and of course Malik Neighbors. So the Giants should be improved, and I look forward to him being impactful in his rookie season. Next, number 4, Omarion Hampton out of North Carolina, drafted by the Chargers, standing 6 foot 220 pounds and clocking a 4.4 40-yard time at his pro day and combine. Freshman year, only had 4 starts, 400 yards, 6 touchdowns, but averaged 4.6, nearly 5 yards per carry. Impressive. Sophomore year, second team All American, first team All ACC, Doak Walker finalist, which is given to the best running back in the country. And he finished fifth in rushing. This is his sophomore year with 1,504 yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 12 starts in 13 games. Very impressive in the ACC. Junior season, second team All American once again, first team All ACC. Doak Walker finalist, led the team with 15 rushing touchdowns, third in yards in countries with 1,660 yards, 2,033 all-purpose yards. And this guy, I like to compare him in physical stature. In his pads, he looks like Saquon Barkley. Different skill sets, totally different skill sets, but he definitely reminds me of Saquon Barkley with the build. He built like a rock, upper body wise. Um, I don't think he's as shifty or has the elusiveness of a Saquon Barkley, but this dude is definitely going to be a problem in the hole. I guarantee you, not going to provide the shiftiness and, like I said, the agility or the elusiveness of a Saquon Barkley. I think he makes one cut and gets downhill. A lot of running back, a lot of his linebackers, and DBs are not going to want to see this dude in the second half coming downhill full speed. So, and of course, landing at the Chargers, I look forward to him being utilized by Coach Harbaugh as he is committed to running the ball. So that is number 4 out of North Carolina, Omarion Hampton. Looking forward to big things from him in his rookie campaign. And at number 3, we actually have a tie between Desmond Watson, and I'll let his name remain until we get there. Coming in at 6'6", 464 pounds, D tackle out of Florida, drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, happens to be one of the largest players ever in NCAA D1 history. 2021 freshman years, he played 13 games, played special teams and the backup D tackle. He finished with 7 tackles, 1 sack. Sophomore year, 2022, became a starter, played all 13 games, 10 as a starter, ended off with 25 tackles, 1.5 tackles for loss. And in that season came the viral video many of you may have seen with him stripping Spencer Rattler, who is now with the New Orleans Saints, then at that time with South Carolina, and basically getting the strip from Spencer Rattler and then proceeding to stiff arm him into the ground. That video went viral, and then he kind of took notice. People took notice of him, on a national scale due to his stature and the way he was moving on Spencer Rattler. His junior year, He then played all 12 games with finished with 11 tackles, one for loss. And in the 2024 campaign, his weight, this is something that has been fluctuating throughout his collegiate career. His weight, he went up from 400 pounds as a freshman to 464 pounds. And this will be something that will be how it is managed in the league, as conditioning and training is paramount for having sustaining any type of career in the NFL. His senior season, he finished off with 20 tackles, even had a pass breakup somehow, some way, uh, recorded in the stats, and he impressed scouts at the pro day with his athleticism for his size. It is 40-inch vertical, 25 inches higher than a NBA prospect, believe it or not. That also went viral. The fact that his 40-inch vertical uh, clocked at higher than an NBA prospect. How that happened, I'm not really sure. Um, this dude is definitely going to cause double teams and be an A gap buster for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you've seen, the tush push isn't going anywhere. So, huge lineman, will definitely be a commodity. Him next to Vita Vea, uh, in that 4-3 that they like to use, occupying that 1 and 3 technique, is definitely going to present a problem as far as in the interior line and defending the interior line against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so I look forward to watching this guy play just based on his size. He's a Florida Gator, so obviously I'm being neutral as a loyal Florida State Seminole. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of this dude, as I only watched the Gators maybe 3 times a year. Obviously, the FSU Florida UF game, rivalry game, I have to check in and see what's going on with that. And he didn't jump out at me, but I definitely am interested in seeing what he's able to do on the next level. Tied at number 3 is Shiloh Sanders out of Colorado. Strong safety, drafted by Tampa Bay, standing at 6 foot tall, 196 pounds. And Shiloh began his collegiate campaign at South Carolina. He only had 2 tackles his freshman year and also had a fumble recovery. His sophomore season, he was finished short due to injury with 32 tackles and 1 pass breakup, including 10 tackles. Very impressive game against Auburn. We registered 10 tackles and also that pass breakup that I mentioned earlier. In his junior season, he then transferred to Jackson State to join his brother, his younger brother, Shador, and also his father, Coach Prime. He finished his first season with 39 tackles, 7 pass breakups, and 2 forced fumbles. And by this time, I could see, just checking his some of his tape at South Carolina and what he had done those first 2 years. Shiloh is definitely a hitter. With me, there was questions about whether he would be able to hold up um, at the next level or even at a Power Five as far as with his coverage ability. But as far as being able to come downhill and lay uh, uh, lay some heat, apply the pressure in the box, that was definitely there. You could definitely see that before he even got to Colorado. And so, as I said, he finished second in the SWAC in interceptions, and with 4 interceptions that first transfer season. And of course, he showed that he could definitely contribute in the secondary at the D1 level. Still questioned in my mind as whether would he be able to make it to the pros. And honestly, I'll be very honest. I thought he was actually a better football player than Shador at this particular time, as I had seen more from Shiloh than I had seen Shador. But then, uh, time would show that one is a little bit further along in development than the other. And in Shiloh's 2024 season, he also had an injury that caused him to miss 7 games, but he finished with 7 tackles and an INT, and comes back for a fifth season. That was his senior season. He had a fifth year at Colorado, in which he finished with 55 tackles, one tackle for loss, one interception, um, and a 50-yard. His highlight included a 50-yard touchdown, pick six with four fumbles. And even that was, excuse me, I'm sorry, that was his fifth year. These guys have so much eligibility. He came back for a sixth year, which was his final year of eligibility last year. Had another injury, uh, in which he played 8 games, 38 tackles, two for loss, one pass breakup, one fumble recovery, one forced fumble. And even though he was undrafted, um, he still showed up with his pro day time, 4.5 40, which is impressive. He still may be a liability in coverage, and sometimes I've seen him take bad tackling angles. But Shiloh, I believe, is very open to coaching, and has a huge upside, ending up in Tampa Bay with a coach like Todd Bowles. I believe he'll receive the best coaching possible and the best opportunity with some of those veterans there, in their backfield, that will help him develop and help him get on the field. And I look forward to seeing what his contribution is going to be in this upcoming 2025 season. Moving along to number 2 on my list of top rookies to watch for the 2025 season is, yes, Travis Hunter, another Colorado Buffalo, standing 6'1", 185 pounds. And Travis Hunter was already a nationally acclaimed 5-star recruit, originally from Florida, West Palm Beach. He then transferred high schools to Gwinnett County in Georgia and instantly proved that he would dominate high school level football, and received offers from, of course, my alma mater, Florida State, and all the top schools in the country. But unfortunately for Florida State and fans of the Seminoles, he chose to follow Coach Prime and play with Colorado. And sorry, not even Colorado, first Jackson State. Uh, He actually played in the first nationally televised HBCU spring game and recorded 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions for Jackson State. In week 1 of his freshman season, he got injured, and that kept him out for 5 games, but he finished the season with 19 tackles, 8 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and a fumble recovery, and 1 defensive touchdown. That was in 7 games. He actually missed 5 games his rookie season. And on offense, he had 18 receptions for 188 yards and 4 touchdowns. Not too bad for his rookie season, or I should say his freshman season. He backed that up his sophomore season, then transferring to Colorado, and then playing 147 snaps, and then of course got injured and missed 3 games. Finished with 57 receptions, 721 yards, 5 touchdowns. His second year, sophomore year in Colorado. On defense, 30 tackles and 3 interceptions. And in that sophomore year, he totaled 1,036 snaps, including 437 on offense, 31 on special teams, and averaged 115 yards per game. I think this is something that I don't know in my lifetime we'll ever see it again. It is definitely not seen prior to this. Of course, we've had players that have played both ways. Most people reference Charles Woodson, who also won the Heisman Trophy award, the second defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy award, along with Travis Hunter. But on this level, we probably never see anything like it again. And in that sophomore season, he also finished All American, second team, All Pac 12, and won the Paul Hornung Award. In his junior season, which was 2024, the standout play was his forced fumble against Baylor. And if anybody watched that game, that play basically was the play that sealed the win for Colorado as Baylor was on the goal line and it was just mano y mano. Travis Hunter and the running back in the hole, and Travis Hunter between the running back and the goal line, and he made a hell of a play. One that, as a DB, any DB would have to credit that play and show respect because for the mere fact that typically cornerbacks are not hitters and they're not the ones looking for contact most of the time. And all I have to say, if you didn't see that play, look it up online. That kind of proved to me the toughness and the physicality and the mindset that Travis Hunter has, not only as an offensive player, but also being equally as aggressive on the defensive side. And that is something that you don't see from a lot of cornerbacks. So for me, that was one of the staple plays from last season, his junior season. Once again, that play sealed the win for very crucial win as well um, for Colorado. He played nearly 400 snaps, more than any other player in the country, and won the Heisman last year, of course, second defensive player to win, and first player to win the Chuck Bednarik Award, which is the best defensive player award, and the Fred Blitnikoff Award, which is for the best wide receiver. So he was actually the first player to win the best defensive player award and an award for the best offensive players award and best in his position and overall. Durability will be a question with Travis, as we've seen that he's missed games throughout his collegiate career, and he's not necessarily like the most built in terms of uh, physical structure. He's not thin or frail, but most likely it'll be required that he's going to have to gain some weight to play and sustain a career, an injury-free career, excuse me, at the NFL level. Definitely one of the most dynamic players that I've seen in my 40 plus years on this earth and watching football and many of them. And I'm pretty sure that those even older than me and even more with more experience will tell you that Travis Hunter is definitely one of the most dynamic players that we've ever seen put on a helmet and a pair of shoulder pads. I personally think he'd be a better cornerback right now than a receiver, as he's going to have to deal with press coverage and he's going to have to deal with some physical cornerbacks in the NFL that may push him around in that slot position. But that's left to be seen whether his elusiveness and agility will make up for the lack of maybe strength or physicality that he may be able to bring. And as a corner, I don't know if he'll be able to, just like I said, on the other side, be able to handle the physicality from the corners, be able to match up against more physical receivers. Take, for instance, like a Mike Evans, a guy that's 6'5", 230 pounds. How does he match up against that guy? Will he be asked to playing, I don't know, in the slot? Or will he be asked to cover one of the better receivers on the opponent's side? All of these things will be question marks, definitely be in his rookie campaign. and I will definitely be interested in watching. And in the number one spot as my favorite or top NFL rookie to watch for in 2025, quick drum roll. Number one, dominating the media and selling the most jerseys thus far of any rookie in the NFL, Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, standing 6'1", 216 pounds, drafted in the fifth round, 188. We're going to hear that number, and the fifth round being referenced for the duration of his career, as Shedeur has been a polarizing player throughout his college career. And of course, he garnered a lot of the media attention throughout the draft process and right into where we are right now with OTAs and training a camp coming up in a few days as training camp begins next week. All eyes are on Shedeur Sanders, and you know what can be said other than during his college career he laid out a body of work that can barely be questioned. Starting with his freshman season, 2021 at Jackson State, 3,321 yards, 30 touchdowns, 80 and 8 interceptions. SWAC Freshman of the Year, second team All SWAC, won the Jerry Rice Award for Outstanding Freshman. Comes back 2022, completed 70% of his passes. Impressive on any level. 3,732 yards, 40 touchdowns, 6 INTs, 40 touchdowns to only 6 INTs. Take that on any level. SWAC Player of the Year, won the Deacon Jones Award as top HBCU player. Then his junior season transfers and follows dad to Colorado, leads the Buffs to a 3-0 start, finished with 3,230 yards. As the question mark would be, how would he deal with playing at a higher D1 level? Even though it was in the Big 12 his first year with Colorado, or excuse me, the Pac-12 his first year with Colorado, started off 3.0. As I said, 3,230 yards, 27 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, only 3 interceptions his first year at Colorado in the Pac-12. He also had 4 rushing touchdowns, and all of this compiled in 11 games. However, the downside and the side that the media definitely decided to attack, of course, Coach Prime, Shedeur, and the Colorado Buffaloes, was the fact that they went 4-8, but the defense was subpar, and Shedeur was obviously playing behind a line that was substandard. And most people knew this and could see this, and the stats also showed us he was also the NCAA's most sacked quarterback in 2023. And also at that point, I offered as a critique to those who would listen in my circle as we discussed these things, that Shedeur was holding the ball a bit too long. And even the more qualified and experienced analysts could see and also mention the same thing. And that would also be something that would be mentioned in his pro scouting and will be something to look as to how he manages it or how he's able to develop from at times taking too many sacks and holding the ball too long. And in his 2024 season, his senior season, he went from 4-8 to 9-4 and made an appearance in the Alamo Bowl. Finished with, check this out, 4,134 yards, upping his total almost up 1,000 yards from the season prior. 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, isn't shabby at all. Won Big 12 Player of the Year, the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm Award, had his number 12, along with Travis Hunter's, retired at Colorado, which was questionable, but hey, They brought a lot to Colorado after a lot of years. I mean, there's been other dynamic players, outstanding players that haven't had their numbers retired, but definitely do deserve such feat and acknowledgement. And hopefully, the University of Colorado will do the right thing. But hey, that does not take away anything that Shedeur Sanders has produced during his tenure for the Colorado Buffaloes. And of course, moving on, a lot of people said that the cause for him being drafted in the fifth round was the way he approached meetings with organizations prior to the draft. That is highly questionable. Whether he turned up with shades on and sunglasses is highly doubtful. I would say, being that the pedigree that he comes from, the level of preparation. Look, this dude is being mentored by Tom Brady. He has access to the best of the best in terms of NFL talents and NFL experience, and many believe, along with myself included in the many, that he was pretty much blackballed from the league because of the attitude that he and his father displayed, and it didn't really have much to do with what he produced on the field. Because anyone could see that Shedeur Sanders, anybody that uh, knows football on a basic level, could see that Shedeur Sanders was a top five quarterback and definitely definitely capable of being a first round draft pick. But as I've said in many instances in which I've discussed this topic, there is a lot that goes into the pot when drafting a quarterback comes into play. It's not like drafting a D tackle or drafting a safety. There, in terms of off the field and intangibles outside of football skill sets come highly into play with that position. And so Shedeur dropped down to the fifth round, and we'll have to compete with Kenny Pickett, Dylan Gabriel, the elder statesman Joe Flacco for that starter position. And not to forget, they still have Deshaun Watson. Their quarterback room is fully loaded, and it's going to be interesting just watching the quarterback competition as the off season progresses with training camp into preseason, and who will be under center week one. I'm guessing it's going to be Shedeur Sanders. Get in the comments. Let me know how you feel. Peace.